Welcome back. We are live. I'm going to go ahead and grab my links. Toss those in the Discord. Okay, that's all good to go. All right. Back to development mode. Now, the past couple days, I've been kind of, all over with this project. I've been just scatterbrained. But we've been making progress, which is good. Been adding things, there's stuff is here, right? This animation is pretty rough, but it's kind of a, it's an idea of what it could be like. Could do something for the wood crafting to just make it a lot easier. Craft item. Let me do craft item. Okay. Item does not equal null. Okay, we do this. I could just do something like this. If item dot name is equal to wood. Lekkere, what's up? How you doing, man? Okay, now we're getting 100 every time we craft wood. That's good. Just to make it a lot better when I'm trying to build stuff, because everything costs 1 wood right now, so if I just give myself the ability to craft 100 wood at once, then I can build whatever I want and craft whatever I want easily. We have a little arm here, obviously terrible, but I want to have something here. I'm still not even sure if you're going to build using tools in this game or if you're just going to build magically. But we now have at least build animations. Doing good. How about you? Doing good. Not too bad. I'm trying to figure out my direction for this game. I have a pretty good direction, but I need to really lock it in so then I can start setting goals for the development, because right now the development is just kind of whatever I think of at that moment. But now that all the systems are there, a lot of stuff is just kind of like building it out. But here's the thing. I know I need trees. I know I need terrain at some point. Lunchbox, what's up, man? How you doing? I know I need trees. I know I need terrain. Procedural terrain, which is a little bit scary. Yeah, I've got to figure that out. The other thing I was thinking is we need to set this up where foundations... oh, I can't build that close. Let's, minimum structure distance. I guess let's do like 5. That way we can build closer. So I build that, and then I can build that. How close can I build here otherwise? Okay, so now I can build like pretty dang close. But I can't build like right there. Nice. But I can definitely build like right here. Yeah. I'll need to figure out a better way of doing that. Something more like just checking if we're overlapping with something. But yeah. First things first. Building components is kind of in progress, but we'll do. We have this one already. Can't be placed unless touching the ground. Also can build below foundations. Right. And you can already build above by building a half wall. Because I was thinking, so a half wall is 2. Let's look at foundation. This is 2. Okay. We have all of these foundation connections. We can duplicate these. And drag them down. Okay, so that works. We have an ad break starting in 2 minutes, just a heads up. So right now, if I build up here, floating, nice. Then I can do this. Interesting. Okay, what we will do is on these posts, first thing we will do is they are all 0.5 by 0.5. Let's do 1 by 1. And let's bring them all down. Right now they're negative 1.1. Let's do negative 1.3. Nope. Negative 1.4. Okay, so now they stick to the ground. But I feel like we need these to actually be pretty tall. Like, you should be able to build a foundation up pretty high. So, instead of 2, we're going to do 4. Negative 3.4. Nope. Negative 2.4? Yeah. Let's do triangle foundation. Let's grab these posts. -2. And actually, we'll do -2.1. Okay, and then we need to do left. Oh, left square. All of these need to be lower. So we need to do that on our square foundation as well. So we're going to duplicate these, go to the front, drag them down. Lower, copy that. Okay. Try front, back. We got to duplicate these. 1, 2, bring them down, save. Lower, try back. Okay, nice. This means that you can also build foundations on top of each other, but only like that, so it's kind of fine. Can't really build another. Should you be able to? Yeah, I think so. We have the deconstruct one here. Okay, so what I'll do is, let's see, this points that way. Let's do a 1, Control D, move this up 2. This one will be our triangle foundation center. This accepts triangle foundations. Go to square foundation. We're going to do the same thing. We have center connection. I'm going to duplicate that, bring it up twice. This is going to grab foundation. Nice. Now this is going to be foundation, connection, center. Okay, let's give this a shot. Annette, what's up? I love the fire pit. The fire pit is nice. I like this little effect we've got. Yeah, it looks good. Okay. So this is what I just added where you can, let's say you build a foundation. Oh, we need wood. Okay. You build the foundation, then you can build around the lower as well. But you can also build a foundation on top of a foundation. That does create some weirdness there, but that's fine. It also means that you can do foundations in the air. But the nice thing with foundations is I can probably get it. Actually, I know I can. Oof. Wait a second. This will create problems. Because I'm trying to think of how you build these up in the sky, right? Well, maybe this isn't too big of an issue, having these big long posts. It would be if, let's say, we go up here and we build a foundation up here, right? And then you start building your base using foundations. That's going to look weird because now you've got all these things sticking down. Where what you really want is something like, I'll put one up here where the legs can't really be seen. Okay. What you really want, ooh, I just realized this too. These don't accept ceilings. We will fix that. Okay. So what you really want is something like this, where you're using ceilings instead. So then when you look from below, it doesn't look all weird with all these supports. That's what we're going to do. So, first of all, foundations, you need to be able to put ceilings. So, foundation connections. These ones specifically, yes. We're going to say accepts ceiling. Nice. I like how quick that is. We're going to do that on triangles too. So, front try. This accepts triangle ceiling. Lower left square, lower left try. We'll keep those the same. Left square, all of these need to accept ceiling, regular ceiling. Square foundation, we need to get our triangle ones. Triangle front, back, right, left. And add triangle ceiling. Now, if we're doing foundations, how do we do this? Because I really want to be able to build in the trees sooner rather than later. So we're gonna game this out. Okay. When you have a foundation assigned as your building component, right? We need to do a raycast down to see where the ground is. If you're above the ground like this, you shouldn't be able to place it. If you're if it's touching the ground and this connects, we'll make it this only as tall as the foundation, this raycast. Then we'll say, okay, you can place it. Now, do we make a separate component or do we use the same component? And do we say a foundation? No, we need a separate component. We need what is called a wall-mounted foundation or something of that kind, which will be a foundation that can be attached to a tree, right? So we have a foundation right here. It needs to do a raycast to see if it's touching a tree or running into something. And then you should be able to place that. So we will do that. What we're going to do is we're going to grab our square. Do we want to do that with triangle foundations yet? I don't think so. I don't think we care enough. So what we're going to do is duplicate, and we're going to say instead of square foundation, we're going to do wall-mounted, square wall-mounted foundation. Okay. Posts 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, where is our front post? Or okay, our front direction is this way. So we can grab our posts, 1 and 2. Those can stay. These ones can get deleted. Honestly, we don't need 2 of these. This one on the X position will be 0. It will be centered. How do you build lower than this? I'm trying to think this through. So if you want to build lower on these connections, then we need something that like comes down. Some sort of a frame, just so it looks pretty good. And what type of a, okay, we're going to do square wall mount. We got to rename this. Is it a foundation or is it something else? Okay. Let's say you want to build lower than this. You can't just do a ceiling. For now, what we will do is post. We're going to duplicate this. Go here. We're going to rotate it around the Z by 90. We're going to center that right there. And this will be like our where it connects, I guess. Just so it makes a little bit more sense. And we can bring it forward a tiny bit. We can do like -1. Now these foundation connections, they will not accept foundations. They will only accept ceilings. So we can get rid of that. I think this is good. Okay. Lower foundation connections. All of these need to just accept ceiling. 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 Okay, cool. Ceiling. Wall connections are fine. Try back, front, all that's good. Try lower back. front. New. We're not going to do any lowers for the tries. Foundation connection center. Sure. I guess if you want. Now, for this component type foundation, what we really want is a new one, a new version. We're going to say script. We're going to go to our base builder. Okay, angled roof connection. Now we are going to do, I guess, side mounted foundation, side mounted foundation. Okay, we'll do that. Oh, this needs to be specifically equaling 8. We want to specify these so then we don't lose the order. Now, resource. Create new resource. This is going to be a DS build component or something. DS component resource. Okay. Square, wall, mount, foundation. Okay, we don't have the wall-mounted foundation one yet, so let's save this and then let's go ahead and reload the projects and then this updates. Side-mounted foundation, perfect. Now let's go to our, what is it? Square wall-mounted foundation resource. Side-mounted. Quick load this. Square wall-mounted foundation, perfect. Preview scene, we'll do a quick load and just do our square wall, or square foundation, I guess. Nope. We want a square foundation preview. Okay. We'll do a square ceiling. Open. Save that. Rotatable, no. Costs. We'll do quick load, grab our wood item. Say it costs 1. Okay. Now, in our player, we have our base builder node. We need another one here called wall mounted foundation. We'll call it square wall mounted foundation. Quick load our square wall mount foundation. Save that. In our foundation components, we need one that is side-mounted foundation. Already my naming conventions are just out the window. Let's see if anything breaks. I love our arm here. We threw this in yesterday. It's gonna need some work. Okay. Ceiling. Oh, okay. So wall-mounted foundation right now is showing up under our stairs. But let's say I place this here. Okay. You obviously can't. Okay. It's hard to see when you don't have the right preview, so we're just going to do the preview. Square ceiling preview. We are going to duplicate this. Wall mounted foundation preview. Square wall mounted foundation preview. Nice giant name. So it has that, but we need to do a CSG box. Maybe we can just copy these. Okay, post 1 and 2, sweet. For this, we're gonna copy, paste. Okay, now we can at least see where it lines up. Oh, nope, that does not work, because we need to actually load it in on the player's side. Or in the resource. So save that. There we go. Now we can see it. So when we do something like if I float up into the tree right here, I can do something like that. Okay. Then we have things like ceilings. Okay, ceilings kind of make sense when you throw them in there. Like they connect somewhere at least. If you do them on the lower level. Ah. This is some sort of an issue, right? This is just an issue with all of my foundations. Interesting. Why can I place a ceiling in the middle of that? But I am noticing this now. So our foundations, we do have some misalignment stuff on other components too. I know that our wood angled roof is acting weird. I think ever since the animations were added. But like this ceiling is obviously lined up higher than it should be. So if I go here, that goes like that. Square foundation, that starts there. 2.2. Can I just adjust that and call it good? What about my triangle foundation? Triangle ceiling, if I go there, that's like that. Triangle foundation. Something is clearly wrong. We can do -2 there. Transform. Oh, nope, that doesn't work. Okay. Transform, we could do 0.1. Yes. Grab these 3. -0.1. Now, where's our collision? I think our collision is just that all of these use collision. Okay, yeah. We can do a lot better performance-wise by just making 1. Why? Why are you still sticking up? Also, that is still down. Is our animation player stuff? Our reset is there. Is this going to mess up all of our other stuff too? How does this mess up our regular foundations? Okay. Those seem to be fine. But the moment you do a triangle foundation, then you get the animation issues because of that reset track. Okay. Okay, we're just deleting that, and we will rebuild it. So 4, 8, and 9 are these lower ones, right? No. Eight, 9, and 10 are these lower ones. Okay. This is annoying, but -0.1. That's 8, 9, and 10, and then we grab 5, 6, all of these. 0.1. Save that. All these posts need to be dropped down. Save that. Now we can create a new animation player. Assign that. Perfect. Grab all of these. Do a build animation. Okay. Build is going to be 0.5. Okay, these 3 ones will be the ones we actually need. So we can keyframe their position here. Keyframe it there. Then we go here. Keyframe that. Keyframe that. Keyframe that. And this one. Okay, these need to be cubic. That way we get that nice little look. Yeah, the little bounce. Boop. Okay, good enough. Please tell me this works. Mitch, what's up in the YouTube chat? Is your animation just simulating hitting the post and then placing the floorboards onto the post? So it's just what I just showed there. Just keyframing the objects inside Godot, because it's not, I don't really need much for these. So I'm just keyframing like the actual boards themselves moving into place. We'll do a triangle foundation. Nice. Okay. Now let's do a triangle ceiling. Nice. We can do triangle ceilings. And we can do them based off of here. That's nice. And then we have our wall-mounted foundation. Which we can do... Oh, this is the one where we didn't change it yet. Position 0.1. No, position 0.2. These posts. Negative 2.2. Okay, hopefully it lines up now. Nice. Now, the only thing that's a little off Oh, interesting. I don't think our ceilings have any cost yet. Does triangle ceiling? No. Quick load wood. 1. Do a lot of ours not have any costs yet? Oh, okay. That has a cost. Stairway needs a cost. Quick load wood. I just want to have costs on all of these. Okay, that does. I thought I added this, but sometimes these are weird and they don't save properly. Okay. Now everything should cost something. 1 second. Coffee time. Okay. So now we have it where crafting costs stuff, building costs stuff. You can build. Can you build a wall mounted off of these? No. Good. But you can build ceilings based off of these. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's our collision shape. Square foundation. Where is this? This needs to be 0, and it needs to be 0.4, because technically this is the collision for that. Triangle ceiling. These are all using collision, so I think those are fine. This is going to break our stairs collision again. There's always something. But if I build a ceiling, nice. Same collision. Triangle ceiling? Same collision. Nice. We do a wall-mounted foundation. Do a ceiling. That lines up. Collision on this one is off. As you can see, you like drop down. Which just means that this collision shape needs to go up slightly. Yeah, it just needs to be on 0. These aren't doing collision. But let's make sure they are. Okay. All right. Okay, now we need to figure out something for our building. Now, on our placeables, we have this ground check, right? This sticks to our placeable spring arm. Basically says, are we close to the ground? If so, we are able to place this. Now, what I need is for, that's placeable snap. We have base builder, snap. Okay. We need to go to our base builder script or our scene, and here we need to do a raycast 3D. Ground check or build ground check, because this is different from our placeable system. Call that. We're going to go base builder into here, and we're going to grab that. Okay. -1. That's our snap. Then this aims straight down. And let's say it goes -3. So now it checks down 3. And on our square foundations, we've got this goes down 4. So let's say we can realistically build all the way up to 4. So we're going to do -4 here. So this raycast is going to shoot straight down, -4. Now, on our wall mounted, it's going to change to -2 on the Z-axis. I'm keeping the -4 in there, so actually it'll be straight that way. But then you can only check if you're within range by -2 on the Z. But right here for the ground check, we can do in our stone hammer, if this equals null, return. How do we check? We need to only check if it's a foundation. Not in foundation components. Okay, this is place new structure. Return false. Okay. Build resources. .get type not in foundation components. Okay. Now let's go to our hammer. We can do this, and then we can do player.base builder.resources.get this. We're doing a lot in this hammer. Not in base, player.base builder.foundation components. Can't be returned false. Okay, we don't actually want to return here. We can do this, okay? We will do player base builder dot build ground check dot is colliding. So this is on left click action. Let's see if this just works. We're gonna grab a foundation. We're gonna jump up in the sky. Okay, nice. You can't build. Oh, I need wood. Okay, still can't build. But then when we get down here, we can. Nice. Okay, good. And this is any time that you're doing a This is any time that you're doing a foundation. Maybe I just do a second one that's no, we'll just change where it's looking. This is in the base builder, so maybe. Raycast 3D, build, wall, check. This will be -2. So now we have a raycast going backwards as well as one going forwards. And on our hammer, I guess what we do is first we check if it's in there. This is pretty rough. Side-mounted foundation. This one's just going to be foundation. Ah, I see. We can just do else here. So, if we are in foundation components, then we check if we are the side-mounted foundation. And if we're not colliding, we just return. But if we are colliding, then we move on to here. If we're not side-mounted foundation, then we check the ground. We could do this here as well. Lots of spaghetti ifs. That is totally fine. Let's give this a shot. Okay. Oh, whoops. Okay, so we can't build. Then we get here, and we can. Nice. So like right there, we can build, but we cannot build out here. But we can build right there. There's also a better way to do this. Because otherwise right now you can build like inside. Not sure if I really want that. Okay, this is already getting better though, because now we can build basically like tree houses. That's good. Now, in the base builder, what we could do is just, since we know that we're not doing any more than 2 or 4, my goodness. Got cables everywhere stuck. Okay. Since we're not doing any more than 4, as 4 meters or whatever this is as a width, and since we're doing separate for each one, then build wall check could be more like right there. And instead of doing -2, we could put it more like with, let's do negative 1.5. And then this could be negative 0.5. Oh, need wood. Okay, that makes it a little bit harder. So we'll do build wall check will be negative 1. This transition will be or transform will be negative 1. The song is always a little over the top. So now you can still build inside, but I don't mind that too much. Let's go to our base builder. This is at 5. We're going to say 2. Minimum distance down to 2. I'm annoyed by the fact that I have bad icons. And that I have bad placeholder boxes and stuff. And items. Okay, what happens if you do a stairway here? All right. Our ceiling is up too high, so you get stuck there. That's still annoying. .7, we're going to do... Wait, what is the Z here? Okay. Let's just do 6. So when we walk up here, do we get stuck? Yes. Why? You know what? It's probably because it sticks up right there. Okay. Do 0.2. Let's do like 0.4. Try this again. Stairway, ceiling. Okay, nice. It actually works. Okay, good. This icon is actually off, I just realized. Okay. Nice. Good stuff. Where's all of our forest sounds? Oh, they're all over there. Where's the player? Oh, player's looking that way. Okay. Okay. What I'm going to do with that one, that one, that one. Let's grab all of these, delete them. This is next to the player. What happens if I do that? Okay. Okay, you can still build foundation on top of foundation. Don't mind that. That's fine. Okay. What's my next direction? One second here. All right, what's the actual direction that we need to go now? Do we just build in our trees? So if I move this here and then transform, we give it a scale of like 5. So like really big tree, right? We are going to need to build some actual assets for this. Build our tree assets. We could start on that pretty soon. But what I'm imagining, of course, is you got your you've gathered some wood. I should probably change the quantity numbers on these to white. Okay, so you're here, and you're like, okay, big trees, small trees. Floors, this needs to get moved into that, but we'll be like, okay, let's build our base. You go here, like, okay, cool. You're like, oh, can't get up there. That's fine. We'll put this right here. Okay, and then we build over to here. So now we can go around, and then let's say we do something like wood half wall. Actually, no, we can just do something like stairway. So you get up here, boom. Ceiling. Oh, you can't do ceiling there yet. So then you'd have to do something like walls. Ceiling. We could do another wall here. We could do another stairway. I just want to see how this looks when you actually like try to build something. Okay. So then you do something like a wood half wall here. And maybe you do something like stairway here. But first, we get rid of those and we do regular walls. Oh, we need quarter walls as well, for sure. And we need another stairway that isn't a full straight one. Okay, we get that going. Put a little ceiling lamp up here. Have our craft bench. We're gonna need to add some more materials so then we can get some better, like everything is basically the same color right now. Why is that? Whoops. There we go. Okay. It's not bad. We're just going to need better ways of doing, like, the walkways up the trees. This also means we need to have some sort of zip line. Definitely. Because I want to be able to zip line up and in. But already I'm a fan of my little tree house here. That actually ends up sitting on top of a rock, but... And once there's some elevation in this game, as far as the terrain goes, besides these little rocks here, that will make things a lot better. But there's going to be some things like... I want you to be able to, like, place a bridge from here to there by maybe place one thing here and then you look across and it automatically fills in a preview of where the bridge is going to go, and then you click, it places it. Let's say I'm on ground level, I'm like, okay, I want to get up on my base. I'll turn off my flight ability. I jump over here. Okay. On the half wall, that looks funny. You know, we could just make a placeable. Well, that's what the bridge would be, right? Would be a placeable. Okay. Good progress so far. That's done. Move that back in there. Stepping planks. Wall mounted. Something like that. Zip line. We'll do building components. This one's going to be a quarter wall. We need a L-shaped staircase. Placeables. So we have zip line, bridge. Yeah. Hanging. Okay, what else? Fireplace. kitchen, or let's say a cauldron. For the crafting of items that you can use to tame forest creatures, maybe. Something like that. Lamp post, like a big lamp post. More materials to make things less boring looking. Okay. This is where it gets interesting, though, because I do need to add in creatures. And creature pathfinding that interacts with whatever you've built. I don't want them walking into your building and just getting stuck there. So I'll need to look into technical problems to research. Procedural, well, we can do this. We can do our saving loading over here. Creature pathfinder. Yeah, because that will be something we need to figure out. Grass bros, obviously we need them. Fox, something like that. Birds. Bookshelf. Holds books, obviously. In inventory and displays those books as more are added. I like that. So you could add books to it and then it would update. Grass. We need grass in the environment. That's in progress. Building animations is technically like done, because we just do that as we add more in. Crafting times, that's fairly easy. It'll involve some UI stuff. This arm, of course, is terrible looking. We'll fix that later. I'm still trying to decide if I want some sort of I don't know. Like what kind of, if I'm gonna have combat, how to do it. And I know that I would make it optional, like you could have a creative mode. Can't seem to place any closer than that. I'll need to look into that. But I'm liking the vibes. Okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Be right back. Okay, we are back. So, what now? This is kind of the problem, is I've been building this for a while, but I always run into this with every project, and we're literally only like a week into this one. Where suddenly we need to make things happen. As far as like building out the game loop. So right now you can, the mechanics are there, but then it's like, all right, what's the game? And it's kind of hard to know what the game is until we have some of the more technical things figured out. I guess not necessarily. Because I was thinking like, okay, we need, procedural and all that. We don't really need procedural yet. It's one thing we do need. Right now you can... These should be changed, and we should also make them toggle, but there's certain things like the fact that you can place there and then you can build over it. Like there's certain things I just need to get ironed out. We'll need another check to make sure that it's not overlapping with anything. That will depend on the component you're trying to build. Okay, one thing, I know that I want trees. This is all one mesh, right? Yeah. Okay, we need some big trees. Character is this big? Let's do, oops, 7 view, so above. So player is about that big. Huge tree 1. We're going to save that. Go back here. We have huge tree 1. We're going to go into our scenes. We have tree 1. Okay. Create a new scene called Huge Tree 1. Huge tree, I guess. What's up, Ellen? My wife is now in the chat. Okay, this is big. Let's give it a material of wood. Okay. We go to the forest. Let's delete this. Transform, this can be 1. Okay. Okay, so this is definitely big. Nice. The reason I'm pulling it in before it has anything on it is just to make sure that it's huge. Because I want trees that are smaller, but then I want trees that are huge, that have big branches. G, Y. G, Y. G, X. Okay, nice. Now we can do something like inset. Hmm. We'll do something like that. Or actually, let's do stuff like this. What is it? K? Nope. How do I do this again? Okay. Just have to press enter. I think using the knife tool isn't the worst thing here. I'm just trying to figure out if I'm approaching this correctly here. So we want some big branches that you can get out onto. But as far as like modeling these in a way that looks good, do not know if what I am attempting here is all that smart. I'm doing this kind of free-handed. we're just really going by feel here. Then I'm not really sure how I'm gonna do this part, like the leaves, if I'm doing these big branches like this. Well, also if I'm doing these style of trees, which I think I am, but I don't have to. Whoops. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how I can make it so you can build up onto these things easy. Why can you still build there? Wall. I do know why. Yeah. So you can like go to here then, be like, okay, I'll build a new one of these. I guess from here you could just build. So you can kind of build a little bit crazy like this. Which I don't mind. If you want to, you can build, you know, far up into the trees. It doesn't end up looking as nice like that. That doesn't look super nice. But maybe with our placeables and stuff, you'll have more opportunity to make cool things. Like, I'm kind of imagining with like zip lines and stuff, it might be a little different. Maybe it'll be like a tool that is a placeable. I'm not sure. But like right here, you would need to do... Well, here you could technically do a foundation. Yeah. You just couldn't do a foundation off of that, which is good. Then you could do a foundation there. It does look good. I do like it. With the placeables, I'm trying to figure out how exactly you could do like a zip line. Like maybe you place it down and then you look somewhere and click and it creates it. Or you just hold it in your hand, look somewhere, click, and then it places it. It just wouldn't be a placeable like these, because right here, like, obviously you can't look up to the top of there and place it. You have to place it here, and then you would have to somehow figure out how to position itself. So instead, it could be a tool like a hammer, but you just look, click, and it creates an attachment to whatever you're looking at. And then that would allow you to just rise up. Mm-hmm. We're gonna need water, fluid sim, maybe fluid sim. Potentially. Fluid sim, maybe. The loop. Game loop is still something I need to figure out. We have all these mechanics built in, but we need to sit down and figure out what the loop is. Some of it is exploration based. Some of it is building based, of course. But you need to be doing something in the forest besides just surviving. And I think what it will be, we have this like idea of tending to the forest. I think that's good. So there's something in the forest that is, you know, blocking off certain sections. You need to clear it out. That's also how you get resources to do things like build. There will be just wood spawns, that type of thing. You will use magic at some point to do to do things that help you. Maybe your building is magic, I'm not entirely sure. Right now I still have it where you have a hammer, but I want to, like, if you see, let's say, like thorns and tangled whatever, you clear that out. That opens up possibilities for more creatures to come in, and then you can tame those. So, clearing out the forest, getting rid of, getting rid of thorns, brambles, etc. leads to more forest life returning. You can tame the forest life. Exploring gives you more magical ability, let's say, which allows for more building slash clearing slash whatever. I don't know. We'll have to figure out what that does. Obviously, I do also want you to really just, like, I want you to be able to decorate your place, make it a home. Taming the animals is going to be big. Creatures, we need light heads from our other game. Okay, I'll have to find that file. I was looking for it, but we'll find it later. Lighthead dudes will be good, especially for the forest because it's at night. Golems will be good. Okay, we got an ad starting in 3 minutes. I may be done here fairly soon. Just a heads up. Not sure how much time I have. Really don't like these models. Also, let's go to the player and let's turn off this light again. will have to do our gather mechanics. Inventory's actually coming together pretty good. Let's see what happens if I do this. Break. Add item to inventory. Okay. Use get total space for item. Inventory dot get total space for item is less than or equal to 100. Oh, greater than. Now this will be replaced with the craft amount, which is basically just how much gets crafted when you build. Okay, not enough space in inventory. Ooh, look at that. I crafted this, and now I have 60 quadrillion billion things of wood. And it just added more. Why? Just added even more. Okay. Something here. Total space for item. I have truly no idea what that is. Ah, look at this. has enough resources. Get total space for item. Item is greater than 0. No idea what's going on. Okay, went from 99 to 198 to 396 to 792. So it's just doubling in size. Then it doubles everything else in size again. Yes, every time I craft. Why does it remove from that and then double that? Craft item. Remove quantity of item. Okay, quantity inventory, so global player var dot inventory. I is the item. Then we're adding here. Otherwise, we're adding here. Inventory dot inventory size. Is item the same? Quantity. Wait, remove quantity of item from inventory. We have a quantity. If quantity is equal to 0, then we do nothing. Okay, what happens when I just craft 2, and then I do that? It, for some reason, is printing, or is just doubling the amount of wood I have. Okay, let's see if it happens when we build as well. Yes, it does. Okay. So remove total quantity. This is what is breaking right here. Let's see if it's just because that's from there. This should be there. My logic was majorly messed up. Why is that still? Or I guess I could just do, if total is 0, so total is 1. So then we go through here. Is it the same? And if it's greater than the quantity there, then we minus the quantity from the total, and we just remove the item at the index, else we decrease the stack. Maybe this is it. Nope. So if the total is greater than the quantity, then we say total equals the quantity total is greater than the quantity, then we're doing this. Okay. Otherwise, we're doing decrease stack at index. Need to decrease that. Change what total is. This is breaking my brain a little. Less than or equal to, okay. Seems to be working. Perfect. Okay, at some point I should actually add a good armor or arm in here with good animations. There's your little crafting station. Okay. Well, now I don't really know what to work on. Feeling a little slightly aimless. Do I want to work on gathering? Not really. What do I want to do? I just made this giant tree, which is good, I guess. Has no branches, I mean, no leaves, but... saving system is probably what I should be doing. And some sort of menu. Like a main menu. I don't need to do it right now, but main menu UI. Save system is really gonna be what we're gonna need. Save system, Godot. It's been forever since I've done this.
You can download the art scene in the video of
Having a way to save data is important. if you want to remember the player's health, what level the player's on, or something more complex like saving the player's inventory, which I will be making a video on really soon. But this is the sample that we will be creating in this tutorial. We can change these variables here, which are just simple variables with buttons that we can change the number of. We can save this data, and when we change up these numbers, we can load that data back, or we can save this data. But if we load the data back, we're going to go back to what we had. This even works when we close out of the game. So let's say that we want 8, 6, and 5, or 4. So, or 5. It doesn't really matter. So 6, 8, and 5. We save this data. We'll load it, and you see it changes, or it keeps it the same. But if we change up the numbers a little bit, we can load the data, and it's going to keep it at this. But if we close out of the game, and then we close out of Godot completely, then we go back down here and open up this project again, then hit F6 to replay the game. You're going to see that we can change these numbers to whatever we want. But if we click load data, we're going to have the numbers that we saved a moment ago. So this is going to store this data outside of Godot. I will explain to you step by step how and why everything works. So you will be able to go and create your own save and load system in your own game from the knowledge you learned from this video. If you could subscribe and drop a like on this video. Now we have a pretty simple game. We have a save data function and a load data function that do absolutely nothing. We have different numbers that change different works, right? Top. And we have 3 rich text labels that are updated constantly through the process function based on what those variables are. Those variables are changed by our 2 buttons, a minus button and a plus button, that just changes the variable very simply. Same with the variable 2 and same with variable 3. In this tutorial, we're going to go over how to create the save button and how to create the load button so that we can have everything come together and we can use these save buttons and this load. When we're saving data in our Godot projects, we need to create a save path. We'll go to our script and we'll say var save underscore path equals whatever you want to save.
Let's try this just in our a scene manager here. Var save.
Save it toward. I'll save it in the user. I'll name this save file variable with .save at the end. Now with the save path, we will create a new file that will save file variable with .save at the end. Now with the save path,
what's a good save path? Okay, so we can just do that.
We will user. I'll name this save file variable with .save at the
So user, and we'll do test save dot
end. Now
dot save.
with the save path, we will create a new file that will save this data outside of Godot in the project's data folder. So we'll create a new function called save, and we need to open the file on our save path and change variables inside. So to do that, we'll say var file equals file access dot open save path file access dot write. This is going to allow us to change.
Okay. Dot file equals file access dot open save path. Then we're doing what? File access dot write.
Change variables inside of the file. Then we need to select the data that we want to save by doing file.storeVar and whatever variable name you have for every single variable you want to store in this file. So we'll do variable 1, variable 2, and variable 3. This allows us to create a new file that will store outside of Godot whatever variables we tell it to. Then we will be able to access and change these variables as things change in the game, which I'm about to explain in a little more depth.
So just store var. So if I want to save a bunch of objects, I could save this array. Let's say my base build component. Would I save it inside of... something like... something like that. I know that this is a bad way of doing it. String, This is in the ready. That's not good. Would it be something like that?
Toward the end of this video. So now we need a way to load the data we save. So we will create a new function and check if the file with the save path name exists. So we'll name this function load data. If file access.file _ exist save path, and if that comes back true, then we're going to want to open the file named save path. We do this by saying var file equals file access.open save path file access.read. Now we want to handpick the variables we saved earlier out of the file we just accessed. So in our script, we'll change variable 1 to equal file.getVar variable 1. We'll change variable 2 to equal file.getVar variable 2, and we'll do the same thing for 3. But when we check to see if the file exists and it comes back false, or if it comes back false, we need a way to show that no data has been saved in that file. So we'll do this by putting an else statement to the original if statement, and we'll print no data saved, and we'll reset all the variables to 0. Now we are able to access the file with.
Okay, we're gonna oh, my microphone says my microphone is unmuted but has no signal. Seems like it's fine now. At least it doesn't seem like my stream quit, hopefully. Okay, well, one thing is for sure. We're gonna have to do some research on this. Obviously,
with our saved data and load it into its corresponding variable names that will update the rich, and everything will work. So let's play our game. We it and we will system to load it up. You'll see that you'll know the player's health is at 8. You'll know that the inventory or the game time is at 5, and you in the slot. So let's say the ID of 3 equals an apple. That's the ID, the object's ID. And then how many apples are we gonna have in the slot? We'll say there is 8 apples in the slot, and what slot number is the apple in? Well, this is probably going to be known because variable 1 is going to be slot 1 ID number, and then
okay, so I think what I'm going to have when I have procedural stuff is basically terrain is unchanging. So you've got, you know, your cliffs, you've got a little stream going through, right? Some unminable rocks. But then on top of that, so it generates that. But then it also generates like where trees are. Okay, so now you have trees and other things that you can interact with. When it does that, it generates maybe some sort of array that holds all of those objects. And then it has some sort of ID for X and Y in the world, I guess. That is connected to its terrain, all of that, right? Then when you leave this area, it just ditches this because it knows it can regenerate it, I guess. But then you jump into a new place and it generates a new array based on the algorithm. But then if you cut down a tree, falls over, right? Then this gets saved. Does the entire thing get saved? And then when you jump back into here, into this area, it always loads the same array of whatever was in there. It doesn't generate it. That means we would be saving a lot more than actually is changed. So maybe instead we save an array of each one of these maybe persistent yet generated objects has an ID for its own chunk. So it's like ID 1, ID 2, whatever. Then when you destroy one, it just saves somewhere that IDs 3, 5, and 6 are all changed in some way. And that might mean ID 3 is destroyed. It might have to have some sort of state or something. I have no idea. But it's like this one is destroyed, this one is half health, this one is whatever. And it generates all that, and then when it gets to those IDs, then it switches it out. I don't know. So then the only thing that you save is a list of IDs and what has changed or something.
For free, link in the description. When saving and loading your game data, there is two methods. One is a JSON file, and the other is using Godot's custom resource system. The main difference is that the JSON method is faster, more simplistic, and better for smaller, simple games, whereas the custom resource method takes a little bit more time to set up. But this method also allows for functions to be built into the save file, which can be beneficial to the developer and potentially dangerous for players who download a save file onto the internet that may include malicious code. As for the JSON method, I will create a new script called saveload. Inside, we will define a constant that will hold the save file location. There are two directories that you can use. These include user and res. User is your computer's user data folder, which when the game is exported allows for read and write actions by the game, whereas with res, this is the game resource folder or your game's files, and when the game is exported, the folder becomes read only, which is bad for a save system that operates during a game's runtime. Next, we will define a dictionary for all the contents that we want to save. This variable is very important as it will house all the data to be saved, meaning that you must update this variable before you start saving the game as to ensure that the data is up to date. Next, we will create two custom functions. One is for saving and another is for loading. Inside the save function, we will create a variable called file and have it open the file location in the write mode. Keep in mind that if the save file does not exist, Godot will automatically create a file in that place with the required name. Next, we use store var to save the contents to save variable inside the save file. We make sure to duplicate the contents to save dictionary to ensure that we are copying the data rather than using the original directly. Finally, we use file.close to close the file after we have written the data to it. As for the load function, we first check if the file exists in the save location. This is important as we don't want the game to error or crash if there is no save file. Then we do the same as before, but instead we create a variable that reads the data from the save file. Then we create a variable called data, which will temporarily house all the save file data inside the save file. We close the file as we don't need to read it anymore, because we can now refer to the data variable for all the saved data. Finally, we create a duplicate of the data and assign it to a new variable. We can then set the variables in the script to the data that was in the save file. Keep in mind that if you want to add more data to save, first add a new line to the contents to save variable. Make sure that the new line is updated before running the save function. Then make sure to set the new line in the load function. Additionally, it is typically best to have a ready function that calls the load function immediately. This is to ensure that the game's data is loaded as soon as possible. Keep in mind though that this may not be necessary depending on your game. Also, when adding new content to the contents to save dictionary, the game may error as your previous save file doesn't include this new piece of data. Simply delete or rename the save file to ensure that this error doesn't occur. In the case that you want to encrypt your save file, in the file variable for both the save and load function, replace the open with open encrypted with pass and add a string to the end of the function brackets. This string will be required if someone wants to decrypt the save file. Keep in mind though that this encryption isn't the best and can still be brute forced by people. Now to activate the save and load functions from any script within our game, first go to Project Settings, Globals, and hit the folder button. Select the save load script and press add. Now, in any script, simply set the contents to save variable appropriately, then run the save function. You can do the same but in reverse order for loading, and because in this example I'm running the load function in the save load script ready function, I can also assign the appropriate value in the ready function of my game scene. This concludes the JSON save file method. As for the custom resource method, create a new script.
I'm going to put this in here. Each savable object in the game will have some sort of save/load function, maybe. When it gets saved, gets initiated, it gets added to a group called persistent or something. Then when we save, we loop through that and save whatever data needs to be saved from that. That data could be a dictionary that has the node name, node path, and any data that is needed, like position, state, etc. Then when we load, we loop through, or no, when we save, we add that dictionary to an array of, this is just for stuff that like we add in, I think. We add that dictionary to an array of save data dictionaries, and when we load the game, it loops through and creates all those nodes again with that data. For generated objects, we can add those objects to a chunk array that keeps track of all the objects in a chunk. That array gets generated, then populates the area. When you change one of those objects, it saves the change and some sort of ID. So when you return, it regenerates the chunk and then edits the generated array and repopulates. Something like that. It's got to be something like that. This is a lot because I've never done procedural generation.
Called save load. Inside, we will define.
I think what I'm going to do is I will do a new project that is just about saving and loading. we're going to do a new project for these. One combined test project that is basically a procedural generation and saving test ground. So then we can learn how to procedurally generate and learn how to test or do our saving system within that.
A constant that will hold the location for the save file. Make sure this location has .tres at the end, as this is the file type for resources in Godot. Create a new script called save data, change the extend to resource, and add a class name called save data resource. You can change the class name however you like. Just keep in mind that this name is important, as it will be referenced later in the save load script. Next, add all the variables and data that you would like to save within your game. Make sure that every variable that you want to grab and edit with the save load script is exported. If you do not export the variable, then it will remain local to the resource and cannot be edited by other scripts. This is because variables without export are expected to be used within functions that you create in the custom resource. Go back to the save load script and add a variable called save file data. This will be equal to the new resource that we just created. Keep in mind that we will use this resource in our game to grab the variables from it, rather than storing those variables in other scripts. We will then create two custom functions, one for saving and another for loading. Inside the save function, we grab resource saver and we save our custom save file resource in the save location. Keep in mind that you must update all the variables necessary inside of the save file data variable before saving to ensure that the data is up to date. In the load function, we first check if the save file exists. Not doing this when the player hasn't saved before will cause an error and crash the game. We then make the save file data variable equal to the resource loader with the save location. We also make sure to use duplicate with true. This ensures that the save file data is equal to a copy of the loaded data, rather than sharing the data, which could cause errors. I will also call the load function inside the ready function, although you may not need to do this depending on your game. If you would like to encrypt the save file, you must do an amalgamation of this custom resource method file type from TRES to .json. Then in the save function, we first open the file location with the encryption key. You can make this encryption key any combination of characters. Just make sure that the key is the same in both the save, and we will need to create an entry for each variable that we want saved from the save file data resource. We then need to convert the data dictionary to a JSON file using stringify. Finally, we store the JSON information inside of the file we opened previously. Then we close the file. Inside of the load function, we first need to check if the file in the correct file location exists. If so, then we need to open the file as being read to a JSON structure. We can then close the file as the data variable has all the contents that we need. Finally, we set save file data to a new save data resource. This will reset the save file data to its default values. Then we can begin to set the variables inside of the save file data appropriately by setting them to the variable of the same name within the data dictionary. Make sure that the name of the value that you are grabbing from the data dictionary is the same as the name that you put in the string value within the data to save dictionary within the save function. To add more data that you want to save, simply go to the custom made save resource and add more exported variables. If you are using the encrypted method, then you will need to add the variable to the save data resource. Then inside the save function, add a new line to the data to save dictionary containing the new variable that you want saved. Then in the load function, make sure you set the variable inside of save file data to the new variable that you created in the data to save dictionary. To have this save load script be reachable by any other script in the game, go to project, project settings, globals, hit the file icon, select the save load script, and press add. To save the game in other scripts, go to the script inside your game, then inside of my save button, I will grab the save load script, then grab its save file data resources. With the custom resource method is that we can set the save file data variable to a new save data resource. This can be useful for save data referring to the settings of your game, especially when you have a reset to default button. Just make sure that you save the file after you reset them to avoid the situation where a user resets their data and they either close the game improperly without saving or if the game crashes.
Okay. Yeah, there's probably better. Well, I know there is Godot. What is it? Godoniers.
Hello, Godoniers. When you make a game, you will eventually come to the point, which in our case was
This guy
position.
has better
For some odd reason, we don't get autocomplete
better
here,
tutorials, I think.
even though we added a type into the saved game. Now we need to add this save data object to the array. Problem though, because we don't have
On save game, is this like called by a signal or something? Yeah, seems like it. Append my data. Yeah, okay. I think this is a lot more like what we're going to want to end up doing. With global position equals save data dot position. Yeah, like this is what we're going to want. Anyway, I'm pretty worn out. I think I'm going to call it there. Thank you for watching, though. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to bounce out. Lekari, good to see you, Annette, as well. And Ellen, of course. Mitch, Lunchbox, appreciate you guys. But yeah, I think I'm going to bounce out. I will catch you all next time. Yeah, hopefully we can get some good progress. I do like where we're at. Like, the actual systems are starting to work. That was interesting. But yeah, like the vibes are starting to get there. We still have a lot of placeholder stuff, but the building system works. We just need mostly like terrain, and then we need some creatures. We need the ability to like save, and you know, there's a lot of stuff that like the actual game pieces need to come together, you know. Let's look at building state. That does not need to be there. But yeah, we're gonna start building those things in, and then we just need the core loop as well. Because right now it's more like just sandboxy, but I want we're just gonna have to think about what the actual goals of the game are besides just sandbox. But yeah, we will figure this out. We will continue to build. We are literally only like a week and maybe a day into this project. It's no biggie. We're making progress. I'm happy with it. But yeah, I'm going to take off. Peace out. We'll see you all later. Thank you for being here.